Hey guys, we are back for Bandcamp Dailies number 24, and somebody seems to be going on a listening spree at the moment of self-inflicted memory loss. So you can see I believe they started listening shortly before 8 p.m. So Bandcamp is set up for UTC time, and so currently my Bandcamp day on Bandcamp. This is a horrible intro. It ends at 8 p.m. And so now it's 8:33 and there's still some songs going. Anyway, we're not going to be listening to that. What we are going to be listening to, someone also listened to Non-Conscious Paradox and Mistaken Lobotomy. We've done videos about both of those as well. But the one thing that we have not done a video about is Caffeine Crash. So this song is from another Core Canning album. This is the opener from Choice Trinkets. We talked about Cora Canning last night, I think it was. Was it last night? I believe it was. Yeah. I don't even remember what did we talk about yesterday? It was Shapeshifter's Realm. Yeah, that's what we talked about. 2 songs from that album. And so Caffeine Crash is the opener for the Choice Trinkets album. This is the last Cora Canning album at the moment, though. Spoiler alert, there is another Cora Canning album that's all finished. It just hasn't been released in like the last few years, but it's all done. I've actually teased tracks from it on some of my videos. I'm trying to think here. One of them was the background music in one of my vlog videos. It was my wrist update video. Yeah, there was a new Cora Canning song in the background of that. All right. So, by the way, before we start, I just want to mention, I talked about this Hollyland, what is it called? Wireless microphone system or something. I talked about it yesterday, right after I was talking about that new video series of short comedy sketches that I've been wanting to make. And they may have seemed like separate ideas because I didn't tie them together. But the whole reason I brought this up was because it's going to make doing those sketches so much better. Because then I can just have a nice, like a lapel microphone. And I won't have to talk into like a big microphone like this, and I won't have to use the phone microphone. And so that's the reason I brought this up. And I forgot to mix those two together in the video yesterday. So I just wanted to clear that up. Because I rewatched that video and I was like, hey, I didn't, these are like 2 separate thoughts. If anyone's watching, they were like 2 separate thoughts, but they're actually connected. So there you go. All right. So I do have a little bit of a text file on the side here. So, okay, we're going to talk about Choice Trinkets. Oh, okay. Trying to think of the name. Choice Trinkets. I think... Yeah. Okay, so the previous album, Unveiled Webbing. The Unveiled Webbing, I can talk about this whenever we do an Unveiled Webbing Bandcamp Daily, but yeah, so I won't talk about it. I'll save it for that, for a potential Unveiled Webbing video. Sorry, I always make my videos right after eating supper. So... I just finished my cookies and they were amaze balls. Actually, I've actually updated my cookie recipe. I don't know if you've watched my cookie video, my boring chocolate cookie video. I was so proud of that video. I was really proud of that video. The sound is not very good. And also the lighting is not very good, but I was proud of that video. But I've altered my recipe. So I mentioned in that video, this has nothing to do with anything. It's not even there's not even a bullet point about this. I just decided to talk about it now. What was I saying? The recipe, I've altered the recipe. So in the video, in my cookie recipe video, I mentioned that how I melt the chocolate chips into the batter, because I don't like the texture of the chocolate chips when they cool down, because they become hard again. I much prefer the melty version of the chocolate chips. And so that's why I melt them in. But I also mentioned that, if you wanted, you could also add in chocolate chips later on in the batter that aren't melted in. So you have the best of both worlds. You have the melted chocolate chips and you have the fully intact chocolate chips. And I've done that occasionally. However, I discovered at the grocery store, they have these mini chocolate chips, and they're semi-sweet chocolate chips, and they're small. They're smaller than normal. And I'm like, oh my God. And so I get those, and that's what I do. I add the minis in later on when I'm mixing up the dough or the batter, and they're not melted in. However, even when they cool down, because they're smaller, it has a much better texture. They're softer, and so my cookie recipe has just gone even better. They're not even boring now. I don't even think they qualify as being boring anymore, unfortunately. So I'm gonna have to change the name of my cookie recipe. And I was looking for white chocolate chips. I don't really like white chocolate, but if you can add, I think white chocolate is okay if you add it very, sparsely. It's like less is more when it comes to white chocolate, because I want the darker chocolate to be the star. But if you add white chocolate as like an accent, I feel like that's okay. And that's what I wanted to do. Actually, I was inspired by the scone that I got a month or two ago, because it had white chocolate chips, but there weren't very many. And so I was inspired by that. So I went to the grocery store to look for white chocolate chips. They had like these white chocolate chips, but it wasn't white chocolate. It was actually, I think it was described as cream. So they were like chips, like cream chips, as opposed to chocolate chips. But because they were white, I got them. And now I put 3 of those on each of my cookies. So I just said basically, I'm trying not to say basically anymore. I put my cookies, the batter, onto the parchment paper. So right before I go to put it in the oven. And as I, pat them down on the parchment paper, I manually put 3 of those cream chips on each cookie. And they look very pretty. I should update my cookie recipe video. Anyway, I think I've talked a little too much about this because this has nothing to do with anything. So that's my intro for the video. All right, so choice trinkets. Dave came up with this name. That's what I was going to say originally. Dave came up with this name. I think he was talking about choice trinkets. He was talking about some sort of gear, like about, I don't remember exactly what he was talking about. Now, the cover art, I really like this cover art. This is something we did with Unveiled Webbing as well. We collaborated on the cover art, and I like that artwork as well. So for this one, this is sort of like it's 2 different mediums. Is that what I should say? It's 2 different styles of artwork. So for Dave's part of the artwork, I was about to say basically, it's pretty much, now I guess I'm going to be saying pretty much all the time. It's like the whole thing, but he did choice and he did this face. And so this was a photograph that he took with his phone. Now this black thing, I'm assuming it's some type of furniture. And then he cut out these letters from a piece of paper, I'm assuming, and the face as well. And he added some marker and stuff. And then the trinkets part is what I did. So he sent me his photograph, and then I think I printed out his photograph, and then I put a piece of paper over top of it, and then I drew this trinkets business stuff so that I could still see his thing, his artwork underneath the sheet of paper. So I was able to sort of line it up properly. And so then I scanned my artwork and I added it to the photograph. And so I do like how it looks. I think it's some pretty cool artwork, and I do like that we collaborated on the artwork. I feel like that was pretty cool because basically, almost said it, because it's pretty much. I'm gonna have to find some different words to say. I have to improve my vocabulary. That is the entire philosophy of these Cora Canning albums, that we're doing everything together. We're playing all the instruments together, and we're writing all the songs together, even though there's really no writing. It's all improvised. And so then we do the artwork together as well. So that's pretty cool. All right, so let's read the description. All right, so drums and guitars recorded on November 24th, 2018. So Dave came over. Wait a minute. This was, the reason I just realized right now why he came over. And it ties in with yesterday's video. Because I said yesterday, the Shapeshifter's Realm. Okay, let's just do this. We're going to do this. We're going to go to the Shapeshifter's Realm. Where in the heck is it? Here it is right here. I was talking about the cover art for Shapeshifter's Realm. This was a photograph from my sister's wedding. She was crazy enough to let us play at her wedding. And that was in 2018. Did she get married in November? I don't know when her anniversary is. I don't know those things. I know when my sister's birthdays are, what year they were born, all that sort of stuff. I don't know. I know like my niece's birthdays and all that sort of stuff, and my nephew's birthday. I don't know wedding dates. I guess that hasn't reached the threshold of where my brain is like, okay, I have to remember this. So, but I am good with dates. You know, guys have a bad reputation I guess they have a reputation for forgetting like their girlfriend's birthday or something like that. That was never the case with me. I remember that. I still remember it. Like my old girlfriends and even my old friends that I haven't seen in 20 years, 30 years even. I still remember their birthdays. I don't know why. It's just the dates. But wedding dates I haven't managed to remember. Anyway, the reason I showed you that is because I'm pretty definitely in November. Okay, it makes sense now. Because Dave came over here so that we could play at my sister's wedding. And so that's why he was here. And we ended up recording an album while he was here, which is really cool. So I'm not sure if we recorded it before or after the wedding. Probably after. Yeah. Okay, I remember now. All of this stuff was not planned. The stuff I'm talking about right now, I'm just remembering it. And so it's kind of funny because the only song we have to listen to is 30 seconds long. And so this video is just going to all be talking, horrible talking by me. But it's what we're going to do. There's also a cookie story in there somewhere. So, okay, yeah, so Dave came over, and so for my sister's wedding, we were each going to do a drum thing along to a backing track, and then we were going to play our song Nostril Caverns, which is also the name of my band, though the song actually came first. I believe the song was written in 2010. That was one of our earlier Cora Canning songs. That's sort of like one of our classic Cora Canning songs. It's a very good song. It's fun to play, and we were going to play that. So with me on guitar, Dave on drums, we were going to play that at my sister's wedding. And so we hadn't played it in a while. And, you know, before we play it at the wedding, we have to rehearse. And I remember we set up his drums. I don't even think he brought his drums. Maybe he did bring his drums. I actually, no, he did not bring his drums because I got new drums. Yeah. And so we used my new drums. It's all coming back to me now. All the stuff I just completely didn't even think about, and now I'm remembering. So, and so we had to rehearse the song. And I remember we played it, we started playing it, and we did it, we did like a good take on the first try. And we look at each other, it's like, Okay, we got this. We're all practiced up. We did practice more after that, but it was kind of funny because we hadn't played it in a while, and I practiced before he came, so I like rememorized the song and all that stuff. And I'm assuming he did a little bit. He doesn't like practicing though. He pretty much does it when he gets here. So there was a little bit of a question on how tight we would be, but we were super tight and we got through it and we played it perfectly at the wedding and it was very fun. Unfortunately, there's no video footage of that. So that's unfortunate, but it was another little story here. I don't know if I should say this another little story. It's because it's really not interesting. Okay, I'm not going to say the another little story. All right. Yeah, so Dave and I recorded the drums and the guitars on November 24th. I am wagering. I was going to say it was that's a Sunday. Maybe it was a Saturday. I don't know. Maybe it was a different day. Who knows? And then vocals recorded on January 5th, 2019. So that was, Dave recorded those himself at his place or at his jam space or something like that. And keyboards, Dave did the vocals on this album. Keyboards recorded on January 20th, 2019. Those were recorded by me here, by myself, and arranged and mixed in March 2019. Okay, so I read this description before starting the video, and it reminded me how much of a pain in the ass mixing this album was. Because each instrument, there was quite a dynamic range, quite a big dynamic range, because sometimes we play quietly and sometimes we play loudly. And due to the nature of the album, which I'll talk about soon, it was all randomly arranged together. And so you would have these loud parts mixed with these soft parts, but then the loud part would just drown out the soft part. And so I had to try and mix it so that you could hear everything. However, like normally when I'm mixing an album, like one of my albums, I dial in all the settings, like the EQ and all the other stuff. And then I'm able to use the same settings for every song. And so I just dial in the settings once and then it's good for every song. But for this one, I literally had to do it for every single song. I had to change the volumes and for every single song. It was such a pain in the ass. And there are 81 songs. 81. So I'm just remembering what I went through in March of 2019. It was such a pain in the ass, but got through it. It's done with. Let's continue with the description. We recorded this album in 5 chunks. The first 4 chunks each contain 20 songs that are 30 seconds long, and the 5th chunk contains one 9.5-minute song. Each instrument was recorded alone without listening to any other instruments, and everything was improvised. While recording drums and guitars for the first 4 chunks, we listened to metronome clicks, and each of those 4 chunks used a different tempo. For the vocals and keyboards, we didn't listen to metronome clicks. For the first 4 chunks, we each recorded 10 drum tracks and 20 guitar tracks, plus 10 vocal tracks by Dave and 10 keyboard tracks by Chris, me. For the 5th chunk, we each recorded 1 drum track and 1 guitar track, plus 1 vocal track by Dave and 1 keyboard track by Chris. Once everything was recorded, songs in the first 4 chunks were randomly arranged based on a randomized list. It's really hard for me to read this. It's too far away. Where each song contains 1 drum track, 2 guitar tracks, 1 vocal track, 1 vocal or keyboard track, and tracks could only be arranged within their own chunk in order to match tempos. Once the songs were arranged, the track list was mostly randomly generated. So did you understand what I was saying there? It's very similar to my self-inflicted memory loss album. That's basically that is where this technique of recording came from. I came up with it for Self-Inflicted Memory Loss, and it's appeared on several other albums and at least a couple Cora Canyon albums with additional changes to it, to the techniques. But it's a long way of just saying that, we improvised all the instruments and then they were all randomly arranged together, but they were randomly arranged within their own chunk because each chunk contained a specific tempo. And so the tempos had to stay together so that they would be in sync with each other. You know what I mean? Okay. And so then we have Dave Turnbull, Morse code, electric phallus, and oration. I forgot about this until I looked at the description. Oh my God. It's it's not almost. I think there's still like a month or a month and a half left until grass season for me. So that's not going to be fun. But yeah, I remember these instrument names. Dave came up with these names. And then Chris Ball, Morse code, electric phallus, finger activated tone imaging. So yeah, Dave came up with these names. Morse code, I believe, is drums. Electric phallus, I'm assuming, is guitar, electric guitar. It's kind of interesting that we have the same. We both have electric phallus because we use different guitars on this album. He used his. His was like an electric acoustic. I forget what it was, like a Godin or something. I don't know, or Godin. I really don't remember. And then I used my electric guitar. And then oration is vocals. Finger activated tone imaging is keyboards. Okay, so we got through the description. Now what? All right, so another thing about this album is, just like with our previous album, Unveiled Webbing, it has a sample before every song. And so we weren't, in Unveiled Webbing, they were all from Star Trek The Next Generation. We are both fans of that TV show because we are gigantic nerd losers. And I've actually been thinking about that show lately, and I feel like I'm going to start watching it again. I've watched the entire series probably, 4 or 5 times. Without counting watching reruns on TV. But I'm getting a hankering to watch some more Star Trek. Anyway, but we weren't sure what sort of samples we were gonna use for this album. We did not know. And we recorded everything, we still didn't know. And then I was giving him suggestions like, I have the entire series of Gossip Girl on DVD. And I thought it'd be funny to have, like, what's her name? Oh, come on. What is her name? Leighton Meester. I thought it would be funny to have some Leighton Meester quotes, samples at the beginning where she's acting all bitchy. But he wasn't into that idea. But then Dave came up with this idea on what samples we should use. Okay, so not only are we going to listen to the track that we still haven't listened to, we have to be like almost 20 minutes in. 23 minutes in, we haven't even listened to anything. Oh my God. Is this even watchable? I feel like my narration hasn't been too bad. Let me know in the comments how bad I am at this. Not only are we going to listen to Caffeine Crash, but we also have a YouTube short that we're going to watch that I uploaded it a little while ago. Uploaded it? Is that what I just said? Uploaded it? Which brings us to the samples. So one of the things about this album, you can see right here, there is a live guitars / drums recording video, but it's 20 minutes. We're not going to watch that. But when we recorded that, so we recorded that when Dave was here, and we were recording the drums and the guitar. And so like I mentioned, okay, let's gather my strength for the next part of the video. All right. So like I mentioned in the description, with the chunks, that it was separate. The album was separated into chunks. We recorded one of the chunks, an entire chunk's worth of guitars and drums. And then we were going to make like split screen videos of those songs that we recorded. I just have to have a drink of water. And so Dave brought his phone. We recorded on his phone. We recorded video on his phone. And so he had this little tiny tripod, and we put it on the table. And then we started, whether it was him or me, we recorded. And so the phone was just recording the entire time. And so say it was Dave recording guitars. And so I'd be on the computer. I'd be manning the recording. I was like the recording engineer. I was pressing start and stop. and I would let him know. I would ask him, are you ready? And then I would, hit, I would say, okay, we're going to go, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, so I think so 20 guitar tracks, right? And 10 drum tracks. And so the phone's recording the entire time. So he would record one song, and then I'd press stop. And then, we would just sort of talk. We would just like shoot the shit in between songs. So we're just having a candid conversation. And, sometimes we'd laugh. Sometimes we'd not cry. But, we were just talking our normal way. And so we had all of this extra footage in between the actual footage of the recording. And so Dave was like, hey, because, we've been friends since the late 90s. We've been friends since so long. And that's something we used to do way back in the day on my nose is so itchy, with my tape deck, is we would record ourselves talking onto cassette tapes. And I have tapes in the back, like I said. So we used to do that. And so he had the idea of, okay, what if we like clip out some of our candid conversations? Because there was a lot of funny stuff in there, mainly from stuff that he said, because he's the funny guy in our dynamic. And so he said, why don't we just cut out some of that and we'll add those as samples? And I thought that was a good idea. And so I went through all of those videos. It took a while to do that, and I picked out a whole bunch of samples. It was pretty fun to do. And so I actually have the full unedited. I have the origin of the sample from Caffeine Crash. So the beginning of the song features my favorite sample. It's not just the sample, it's also sort of like what happens and what led to the sample being created. But I have the video of that. So we're going to watch that too. So that was just a long way of saying we're going to watch that. I'm really drawing this out. Okay, so what else? I've got 6 bullet points here. We act like idiots. Yeah, that was one of the bullet points. We act like idiots. So because we've been friends for so long, and so since high school, and so we talk. We're complete morons when we talk to each other. It's all just in inside jokes, and just we're acting like idiots. And I really don't know what else to say about that. And the final bullet point is, normally with these types of randomly arranged albums, like with self-inflicted memory loss, we would isolate the tracks. I would open up my Reaper project and I would isolate the drums, or I would isolate the guitars, because there's so much, every instrument is doing something different and it's hard to figure out what's going on. So I was going to do that with this. And I went on my external hard drives looking for the Reaper projects. I finally found them, but the track list, I don't know what the track list is, because they all have like actual names, and normally they were arranged by chunk number and then the track in the chunk. And so I wasn't able to find what find the actual track list of with the production names. So, in other words, I would have to load each chunk project into Reaper and scroll through each song to figure out which song is Caffeine Crash. So that was really annoying. It's quite possible that that I have like a spreadsheet on my old Windows XP computer that has all of that information, because back in 2020, early 2019, I would have uploaded this album to Bandcamp with that computer, but I just never added that file I never backed up the file, and that computer is in a closet, and so I really don't want to go doing that. So unfortunately, we are not going to be able to isolate tracks. So this entire video is only for a 37-second song. However, we also have a YouTube short to watch, and the YouTube short is very funny, in my opinion. So we're going to save that for last, and we're going to listen to Caffeine Crash right now.
Fucking blast beats. What the fuck am I trying to do here? Like that shit?
Okay, so this song, unfortunately for Dave, I'm playing drums on this. I'm playing one of the guitars, and I'm playing keyboards, and then Dave is playing one of the guitars. So that's what would happen, because it was all randomly arranged, and so sometimes even there's only one of us featured on a song. That happens occasionally. That happens several times actually. Whether it's every instrument is by one of us. So this was almost one of those times, but Dave played one of the guitars on this. And also just, I'm gonna play the song again because it's very short, but the beat I played at the very beginning, it's a blast beat and it's very fast. I don't know how I played that fast. When Dave was here, I feel like I played drums faster. I don't know why. It's like I've got something more to prove or something, because he was Mr. Drummer. He was a big drumming influence on me, because we were friends way back in high school when I never played drums before, and he was amazing way back then. So
fucking blast beats. What the fuck am I trying to do here? Like that shit?
And the reason I called it Caffeine Crash was because the beginning is very intense, at least with the drumming. And then the beat goes really slow. I guess the music is always, like the other instruments, the melody is always sort of slow, but then the drums meet sort of the energy level of the other instruments, and it's sort of like a caffeine crash. So you start off super energetic, and then you crash at the end. So I like that title, Caffeine Crash. All right, so we're gonna watch the YouTube short. Now, I'm just going to play the sample at the beginning, just to refresh your memory.
Fucking blast beats. What the fuck am I trying to do here? Like that shit?
So, this was probably my favorite part of when he was here recording, because I laughed so hard. All right, so let's go to this.
Fucking blast beats. What the fuck am I trying to do here? You like that shit? Oh my god. I'm gonna play a blast beat all the time. Blast beats!
Okay, so I'm going to describe what happened because it's very funny. Now, we recording, this is Dave, by the way, and I'm like over here near the camera, just off screen, and I'm by the computer. So I pressed record, and he's recording one of his drum tracks, one of his 10 drum tracks for that specific chunk. And so he starts playing. Okay, so he starts playing, and then he starts to play a blast beat. But he wasn't perfectly in time. And so he gets mad very easily when he does the blast beats. Like if it doesn't sound perfect, he gets mad. And so that's what he did. He got mad, and then he makes a face. And then he starts doing like fills, and he just starts screwing around and making faces. And so he's doing this, and I'm just losing my shit. I am laughing so hard. You can't hear it yet because he's playing drums, but he's doing this intentionally because he knows it makes me laugh so hard. And then towards the end, he's still screwing around. Like he's recording the song, but he's just screwing around. But he's screwing around, and he drops a stick while he's screwing around. And that made it even better because he dropped a stick when he didn't mean to do it. And I lost it at the end. I was laughing so hard. I just laughed because I saw him drop the stick. So a sequence of events, he tries to do a blast beat. It's not perfectly in time. He gets angry. He starts making faces and just doing fills and then screwing around and then making faces still, and then he drops the stick. And then he hears the ending metronome clicks that says that the song's over.
Fucking blast beats. What the fuck am I trying to do here? You like that shit? Oh my god. I'm gonna play a blast beat all the time. Blast beats!
All right, so there you have it. Oh, I think that specific part was I think that was split up into a couple different samples. That sequence of events where I was laughing, because I do laugh later on, and yeah. Anyway, there you go. This has got to be like 30 something, 39 minutes, and we listened to one 30-second song. How about that? Talk about rambling. Oh my God. I didn't even get to eat popcorn. I was so looking forward to eating popcorn. So, unfortunately, no popcorn. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I don't know what else to say, so I'll see you later.